Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Lifelong Learning for Healthier Workplaces Roundtable, and in fact, happy European Week for Lifelong Learning. My name is Brenda O'Brien. I'm going to be your moderator for today. I'd just like to say thank you to our hosts today, the European Forum of Technical and Vocational Education and Training, EFET, who are organising this entire wonderful series of events this week. I'd also like to say thank you to Marianne Wind, member of the European Parliament, who has so graciously agreed to be our host for today. Before I tell you more about what's going to happen, I'd just like to go through some technical things with you. First of all, please switch on your camera because we'd like to see you all. It would be so nice for us to know you're there, more than just feeling your presence. Keep your microphone switched off. Put your name and surname in so we can identify you. We're going to record this. So and we will be using the recording both for publication later, internally, but also externally, for all sorts of publicity reasons. So if you prefer, you can use another name, you can invent a name if you don't want your real name there. You can also, during the course of the next hour, put any questions you have in the chat. That way, we hope at the end that we'll have some time to take your questions, have maybe a little bit of time for some exchange. So today we're here to tell you about the collaboration between the wonderful worlds of occupational safety and health and the worlds of lifelong learning. And this collaboration has been going on for some time now, involving more than 15 countries. Later on, you'll be able to find out a really practical example because we're going to show you what's going on in Portugal in this field. But to start us off, I'm delighted to welcome here John Harding, who is the UK member of EFET, but also the Vice President of the Lifelong Learning Platform. Hello, John.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you. I think that was a great start to, you took a lot of my things I was going to say as well, so which is quite good. My name's John Harding, as you said, Vice President of Lifelong Learning Platform and National Rep for EFET. I would like to formally welcome you and thank you for attending this of the Lifelong Learning Platform Week and this session. And we've got some real great speakers and some real good panelists and some real good discussions, as Brenda's just mentioned. But I just wanted to mention one thing. It was interesting reading this. My son works in a construction site and sent me a video today of him putting up a big plasterboard on his own. And I was thinking, can he actually do that for the next 20 to 30 years, thinking about the subject? So it was quite interesting that code inside with that sort of thing. But I'd really like to thank you and, participate, get some questions in, really get involved in, get engaged with this. But I'd like to, like I say, have a fruitful hour. And hopefully, if you've got Twitter accounts, Twitter what we're doing, etc. and so on. But thank you, Brenda, for being our host, and but on behalf of Lifelong Learning Platform and EFET for this. So we thank you very much for attending, and hopefully you all have a great session. Thank you, Brenda.
Thank you very much. And actually, Marianne Wind is trying to connect. I know that, our member of the European Parliament. Perhaps someone could send again the link to Marianne, because we might just have a small problem there. While we're waiting for Marianne to join, do you think that we might show the video about the Lighten the Load campaign? Thank you.
Did you know that musculoskeletal disorders, MSDs, are the most common work-related health problem in the EU. MSDs are painful conditions affecting the muscles, tendons, ligaments, nerves, or joints. They can affect the back, legs, arms and hands, shoulders, and neck. The main hazards for MSDs in the workplace include lifting loads or people, repetitive movements, and painful or tiring positions, including static postures. Stress at work and psychosocial and organizational risk factors also have an influence. MSDs can become chronic and result in disability, and sufferers may even have to give up work altogether. They can significantly impact business productivity, for example, because of absence. Often, only simple measures are needed to avoid MSD risks. Measures should be based on a risk assessment and could include automating lifting and transport operations, using mechanical handling devices, or providing a trolley. Adapting work to individuals by making workbench heights adjustable or providing an ergonomic seat or mouse. Providing more frequent short rest breaks, giving workers control over how they carry out tasks, and rotating tasks. Workers need to be encouraged to report problems early so they can be addressed as soon as possible before they worsen. We at EU-OSHA are committed to better workplaces and preventing MSDs across the EU through our Europe-wide Healthy Workplaces campaign. On our website, you can find resources available in over 20 languages to take action against work-related MSDs. Find out more on www.healthyworkplaces.eu. Join the campaign and help us to create healthier workplaces.
So thank you very much. I was just going to ask our technical people there if Marianne Lind has joined yet. And if not, we'll move on with Lorenzo, my colleague from EU-OSHA. Has Marianne arrived?
Not yet. I haven't seen her.
Not yet. Okay, right then. Well, after that video, which outlined a little bit about the Lighten the Load campaign, which is our campaign on musculoskeletal disorders, I'd like to hand you over to my colleague, Lorenzo Munar. Lorenzo has been in the agency for 15 years now. He is an occupational safety and health expert, or OSH as we call it. He's also an expert on musculoskeletal disorders. And in fact, he is the scientific person responsible for all of the content of this very big campaign that's currently running. So Lorenzo, why don't we start with you while we're waiting for Marianne to join us, and you could tell us all about the world of musculoskeletal disorders. Welcome, Lorenzo.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Yes, my name is Lorenzo Munar, and as you mentioned, Brenda, I'm in charge of the content of our current Healthy Workplace campaign, Lighten the Load 2020 and 22. And EU-OSHA is currently running a campaign on the prevention of musculoskeletal disorders, or MSDs if we use the acronym, and it's not the first time that has run a campaign on this topic. In fact, this is the third one. And why running another campaign on the topic? Simply because MSDs is the work-related health problem #1. Next slide, please. Of all workers in the EU with a work-related health problem, 60% identify MSDs as the most serious one. Roughly 3 in every 5 workers in the EU report MSDs complaints. Next slide, please. In the framework of this campaign, we also focus on children and young people, what we call the future generation of workers. In a systematic review report recently published by us, it is confirmed what was already mentioned in some research articles, the high prevalence of MSDs among children and young people. Prevalence of MSDs in children and young people who have not yet entered the labor market is very high at 30%. The average prevalence in young workers who have entered the labor market is slightly higher at 34%. It's important to underline that most of these complaints or MSDs reported by children and young people are acute problems, but these acute problems have the potential of becoming chronic over the years. Next slide, please. Taking into account the statistics I have just shared with you, the question that I would like to address is why promoting the musculoskeletal health of children and young people in the framework of our campaign. There are several reasons. Today, I would like to underline a few. First of all, because findings of research on school children and young people raises the issue of young people coming into the workplaces with pre-existing MSDs that have the potential to be exacerbated by work. Also, because the adoption of a life course approach to prevent MSDs is key. Musculoskeletal conditions occur over the life course of people, starting from childhood already. And this is what we want to stress today. Also, because young people have a professional career ahead, it's therefore important to make them aware about MSD's risk factors as early as possible. And also because we believe that by adopting a life course approach to MSDs will contribute to promote a more sustainable work for this future generation of workers with less muscular pain, less sickness absence, less early retirement. Next slide, please. The positive message we would like to share with you is that most of the MSD's risk factors are preventable and manageable. This can be done through education, training, improving skills by increasing knowledge and awareness about musculoskeletal discomfort and pain in both children and young people. This can be done through the promotion of more exercises, movement, physical activity in schools. This can be done through the use of ergonomic equipment. It's known that ergonomic equipment, in addition to training, has a positive effect. This can be done through the implementation of injury prevention education programs and moderate physical activity as a way to prevent and reduce accidents and injuries. Next slide, please. This can also be done through teaching more widely OSH skills in a comprehensive approach as part of vocational diplomas. This could be a way to contribute to develop a culture of prevention, culture of occupational and safety health prevention among young people in transition from school to work. And finally, this can be done through teaching MSDs prevention, and this is very important, tailored to the specificities of the profession learned. For instance, future hairdressers have to know about the good postures to be adopted, about how to look after their musculoskeletal health so they can work until retirement in the sector and are not forced to leave it because of chronic MSDs, as this is already be happening to too many hairdressers. That's why from EU-OSHA, why we have been very active on mainstreaming OSH into education over the years, but also in the framework of our current campaign, because we believe that the education sector and the occupational health sector should work together to prevent MSDs among children and young people. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lorenzo. I'm sure many of our audience will be, quite amazed to hear at how children and young adults already entering the workforce have already got pre-existing conditions. And we also have some comments about that in our chat. So I think we still have some difficulties with Marianne Wind connecting, perhaps.
No, I'm here.
Oh, Marianne, you're here. Great. You have no idea how relieved I am to hear that. Fantastic. So I'd like to hand over the floor now to Marianne Wind, who was so kind to agree to be our hosting MEP for today's roundtable. Marianne is an MEP from Denmark and has been one since 2019. Before that, I know that she has been a trade unionist. I've noticed recently in the European Parliament, she is very active on occupational safety and health, and also seems to have a very healthy interest in lifelong learning. So Marianne, the floor is yours, and welcome.
Thank you very much, and thank you for arranging this very important event. As you said, it's a topic very close to my heart. I've been working with this for many, many years. I'm educated as a laboratory technician, and maybe I think it was a part of my education to have a safe working environment as a laboratory technician. So maybe I have it on my back my whole life. That's why I'm very interested in this. And I know if you don't have a safe workplace, it can give you trouble in your entire life and give problems for your family as well. So it's a very, very important topic. And thank you, Lorenzo. I heard what you said. You write about everything. So it is great to see how busy you are in EU-OSHA these days. Yesterday, we had a very constructive meeting in the Employment Committee in the Parliament about MSDs, where William Cockburn had a great presentation about this important topic. And it was clear yesterday that there is a high ambition to tackle these issues. And I was very glad to hear the ambitions. For several years, it has been my political group's ambition to request a directive on tackling MSDs at European workplaces. And as a rapporteur for the European Parliament's opinion on the EU-OSHA strategy for the next 7 years, it has been one of my absolute highest priorities to secure a call for such a directive. I'm confident that we can have a strong text and call for the Commission to act. We have plenty of data, especially from the work of EU-OSHA, that shows that need for such a directive. But a directive itself is not enough. As I also asked in the Employment Committee yesterday, how do we make sure this will be felt by everybody in Europe? How do we make sure that prevention of MSD actively takes place all over Europe? And here, vocational education and training and lifelong learning plays a very important role. It is well documented that those who have just started at a workplace, those are the ones who have only been working for maybe a few weeks, are those who are most likely to get injuries. Sometimes these are life-changing. We need to change this. And it is also in the beginning of your working life, you learn the bad way of doing things. So it is in the first training, you need to learn how to do things in the right way. So it is also important that those who have more experience are taking the responsibility of the workplace and lead the way forward to protect their young colleagues. Lifelong learning plays a vital part of this. But we must also secure that growing older and becoming wiser does not make you repeat mistakes from your youngs and make you suffer from MSDs today. You should be equipped to a solid fundamental knowledge on health and safety from your vet, and lifelong learning should strengthen this knowledge and help you, for example, to assist your colleagues when needed in prevention MSDs. But the responsibility of MSD prevention is not just the one of your own. It is also very important that the workplace and the companies take responsibility and declare their support to a Vision Zero approach, where neither work-related deaths or work-related injuries are okay. Without a clear strategy to prevent MSDs at the workplace, we will not see any progress. This is why we include a strong call for an EU Vision Zero that also covers occupational injuries. This is how we as European Parliament members can have an influence in preventing MSDs once and for all. I'm really looking forward to today's event and hear all of you, where we also have participants with first-hand experience with securing health and safety at the workplace. As a former vice chair of one of the largest trade unions in my member state, I'm always keen to hear which experience people have from their own workplace and their experience with vocational education and training. Because sharing best practice is also what EU is for. And this is what we will do today. I will keep my eyes and ears open for today's presentations, and I'm looking forward to your interesting discussion. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Mariana. We're going to come back to you a little bit later again to see how you're getting on and to hear your views on what you've heard. I'm glad you said you're interested in different views from the other member states, because we have quite a wide-ranging, you know, we go from Finland to Portugal in the space of a few minutes. It's this virtual world is sometimes wonderful to allow us to do that. Thank you, Marianne. So without any further delay, let's go and have a look and have a chat to those people who have been brave enough to say they will join our panel, because this is really looking to see where is the strength in this collaboration between lifelong learning and occupational safety and health. What happens if they join forces to actually lighten the load when we're looking at an issue as pervasive as musculoskeletal disorders? So I'd like to welcome Arja Flinkman to our panel discussion. Arja, I know you're in Finland. You are the Vice President of EFET. You're also a member of the new working group on vocational education and training and the green transition. And also you're a member of the European qualification framework. What has been your experience of the collision of these worlds of occupational safety and health and lifelong learning? And can you explain to us how is welfare technology used in your college to support lifelong learning and I suppose secure healthier workplaces?
Thank you very much, Brenda, for this question, and it's very important aspect what we have talked about today to save or to support the health in the working places. Our welfare technology learning environment is funded by European Union. So-called structural funding is the source of it, and it is used for twofold purposes in our vocational college in Finland. First of all technological welfare solutions, they are meant for elderly or disabled people who are living still at home to maintain and promote the quality of life at home by assisting these people in everyday activities so that they can manage living at home as long as possible. So that saves the workload for health institutions. But on the other hand, this equipment do lighten the work of social and healthcare personnel, especially by assisting in the lifting and moving of patients who are not anymore living at home. So the welfare technology learning environment is used to train our students in those fields and their working processes that help them in supporting their own musculoskeletal health throughout their career in the working life in the future. Mm-hmm. And also we train the employees in our area in that right way to work, as said also by Marianne. Thank you.
Thank you. When you say you train, do you want to talk a little bit more about that training?
Yes, all the employees that are already in working places. So we train also the especially from the social and healthcare sector, the employees. So our annual students and also the employees in the area. So it is used twofold in that sense.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's very interesting, Arya. Thank you. I wonder if I could come to my own colleague again, Lorenzo. Having heard what Arya just said there, what do you think, Lorenzo, are the main risk factors to which children and young people are exposed these days?
Well, I will refer also to this systematic review report we just published, because in the framework of this report, we have tried to address the many potential MSD risk factors that have been suggested by the literature on the topic. But we have to say that for many of the suggested factors, we have inconsistent results. So this is the main message. We need more research and more qualitative, better research. Having said that, with this systematic review, we identify some of the MSD's risk factors that are highly associated with MSDs, which are overweight, physical inactivity, sedentarism, sport injuries in general, but also sport injuries, and bad or incorrect postures. Okay, it's true that we have focused on the acquired MSDs because children also suffer from genetical or congenital MSDs, but we have focused on the more acquired ones. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. We do have a comment from someone saying that many of the MSDs in children are actually rheumatic diseases. Yeah. And that's the reason why this particular contributor would prefer to call all the conditions rheumatic and musculoskeletal conditions. Yeah.
Which is I think is true. Yeah. And for your information, because we were talking now about the OSH sector, the education sector, but also we have the public health sector playing a key role. And here I can see Loreto Carmona is from EULA, and yeah. We have been also in the framework of our campaign targeting also, let's say, it was in one of the priority areas called chronic conditions, precisely. And we, in the framework of this, we are talking also about rheumatic and musculoskeletal conditions. So we don't have any problem with this. Mm-hmm. And I think we need to involve also the public health sector in the prevention and the promotion of a good musculoskeletal health. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that. And in fact, thank you, Loretta, for your comment, because we've had a lot of very good collaboration with EULAR over the course of our campaigns. And in fact, I'd like to remind the viewers that if you want to put a question, you can stick it into the chat there and we'll try and take it later on or at the end of the panel. Lorenzo, could I ask you, you know, you've listed so many things there. How do we best promote musculoskeletal health in the schools? How does that work?
Well, we have already some good examples identified in the framework of our work. So we can see, for instance, in Hungary, where daily physical education has been implemented in schools as part of a holistic health promotion scheme. So once again, this is also with the support from the public health sector. Also, we have some initiatives like Moving School in Austria or Schools on the Move in Finland, in which here they have developed new pedagogic approaches in which we have integrated a little bit more movement, changing postures, and avoiding sitting still most of the day. But this is part of the learning, the education, the pedagogic approach, which I think is very positive, because just by doing, children are learning just to alternate postures, move. And this is one of the main messages we are trying to promote throughout our campaign. By the way, I also use the opportunity to say that very soon we are going to publish another report with ENETOSH on this specific topic, how from schools adopting new pedagogic approaches, we are fostering the musculoskeletal health of children.
Oh, thank you, Lorenzo. I noticed you mentioned Finland there. Arya, I just wanted to come back to you for a minute. Did you know that Finland is so well, of course you're aware, you're so proactive. Well, what is it about the Finns that make you so proactive in this area, so knowledgeable in it? And indeed, your best practice is something that we can all learn from, isn't it?
We do a lot of national and also international benchmarking in this area, and we have invested, like I said, quite a lot to this welfare technology, because we are so few persons here in Finland to taking care of the most quickly getting old people. So we have to cope with a little less resources than average European countries. So that is why we have to be very effective.
Oh, I see.
But I think that this cooperation, both nationally and internationally, it is very, very important in this area, because we can share the experiences and then learn from each other.
Right. Thank you, Arya. I think, well, learn from each other. I think we can learn a lot from you, definitely. I'd like to welcome our other panel member now, Jesus Alvarez. Jesus is here representing the European Commission. And welcome, Jesus. Jesus works in the unit in the Commission responsible for occupational safety and health. For historical reasons, this unit is not based in Brussels, it's based in Luxembourg. So greetings to you in Luxembourg. The other thing about you, Jesus, is that in the world of occupational safety and health, you're well known to us because you're also in Bilbao, where the agency has its headquarters. You are our liaison person, you're our contact person, and you're also a member of our management board. So again, welcome to you. What has been the approach, Jesus, of the Commission down through the years to these, I suppose you might call them worrying statistics about musculoskeletal disorders in the workplaces? What's been the approach of the Commission?
Thank you very much, Brenda. I'm very pleased to join this very interesting roundtable. And hello, good afternoon, everyone. Of course, musculoskeletal disorders is a topic, is a matter of great interest and great concern also for the Commission. And that is nothing particularly new, because one of my surprises when I started working in the Commission in the 90s was that the interest of the Commission in the ergonomic area in general was since the beginning of the creation of the, now is the European Union, but some of you may know that the first European community, the origin of the actual European Union, was the European Coal and Steel Community. And this, which by the way, was created in 1951. And it was, after the World War, it was the first real European body, no? And in the creation, in the treaty creation, creating this European Coal and Steel Community, it was already an Article 55, in which the Commission was required to promote technical and economic research relating to occupational safety and health in the coal and steel industries. So since the beginning, this article was implemented through a very, very ambitious programs in ergonomic research, especially in mining and in the steel industry. So this created a very, very strong and powerful corpus of knowledge, of scientific and technical knowledge, which was also very useful when the Commission decided to put forward the first and the most important directive in our field, the Framework Directive. You know, it was in 1989, which requires basically to the employer to ensure the health and safety of workers at work in respect of any kind of circumstances or risk, and with a very particular interest in the adaptation to the work, to the workers. This is the principle of ergonomy, as you know very, very well. No? And this legislative perspective was initiated, as I mentioned, in the 89 with a framework directive, but was continued afterwards with specific directives dealing with the most substantial risk. For instance, in the 1990, the directive on manual handling of loads, with an obvious interest in preventing this kind of musculoskeletal disorders for workers that carry and have to manage handle manual loads. And also in the same year, the display screen equipment directive now is very actual because of the teleworking. We are all submitted to these teleworking prescriptions, no? And this was the origin also, this directive of this kind of requirements, and continued also in the legislative way by the directive on vibrations. As all of you know, vibrations is also one of the main causes, repetitive movements and vibrations. So this legislative approach, which is continuing, the Commission is continually analyzing the pertinence of the directives of the legislative framework. And I have to say that this legislative context is supported very, very effectively by the Bilbao agency. Already in 2000, I think it was the first campaign on musculoskeletal disorders. Actually, it's the only topic that have deserved 3 campaigns, 2000, 2007, and now 2021 and 22. So we have, I think, we have managed to put together a lot of elements: legislative, non-legislative, training, awareness raising, practical tools through the campaign. So is this holistic approach that the Commission is always promoting. And this is our overall ambition, involving all the stakeholders in this holistic approach towards prevention in this field, of course.
Yeah, thank you. So does that mean, Jesus, you're still working on it? It's an ongoing topic for you?
It's an ongoing topic because, for instance, we are now analyzing again the prescription of the display screen equipment, because you know the technology evolves very quickly. In the 90s was when the directive was adopted, the technical prescriptions were adapted to the time. Now the technical evolution is advancing very, very quickly, no? And now with many other elements, the digitalization and the technical developments. So we are definitely still working in this area, yes.
Oh, okay. And very briefly, finally, if I may, Jesus, about vocational education and training. You have had in the Commission, we have had at European level, successive strategic frameworks or strategies. And in fact, we heard Marianne Wind earlier. She's currently writing the report of the European Parliament on the new one that was adopted in June. Has vocational education and training featured in successive EU strategies? And does it figure in the new one?
Yes, definitely. The reply is definitely positive, because since the first EU program, well, before there were EU programs, afterwards, as you rightly mentioned, they are called EU strategies. The first one, as you may remember, it was in 2002, 2006. And already at that moment, it was a chapter dedicated to education, awareness, anticipation, how improving people's knowledge about risks. And in this particular context, the education and the vocational education and training was highlighted by this strategy 2002-2006 as a very important element, the continuing vocational training. These references were also present in the next one, in the next EU 2007-2012. And this is curious because at that time, it was in the context of a chapter called Promoting Changes in Behavior. So we realized that the best way to change behavior or to modify behaviors is in the childhood. That's why the Commission inserted a chapter dedicated to develop a risk prevention culture in training programs at all levels and education in all fields, including vocational training and university education. So this continuum presence of the OSH in the curricula, and well, Lorenzo referred before to that, and the activities that you, the agency, are doing in this respect. Now, most member states have already some concepts of OSH in their school curriculum, no? Yeah. And later on, in the next one, in the first strategy framework, so-called strategy framework 2014-2020, it was also a very useful reference to vocational educational training in the context of funding, opening the way of funding, of receiving EU funding for these activities. And it was also, of course, a very good reference of the synergies with other policies. OSH interacts very well with other policies, in particular with the education and culture. And in this context was also mentioned the vocational training. Yeah. And of course, in the current one, vocational education and training is also particularly mentioned. And also in the opinion of the Commission, of the single programming document that we have been discussing today in the management board of the Bilbao agency, there is a very interesting point in working further on vocational education and training. So this overall perspective is very well reflected in the EU strategic papers. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jesus Alvarez from the European Commission, and my other panelists, Lorenzo Munar and also Arja Flinkman from Finland. Now it's time to fasten your seatbelts because we're going to leave and we're going to go over to Portugal, because in Portugal we're going to get just some detail about a national project that shows in practice how this type of collaboration works. You're going to see the link between theory and practice, the link between lifelong learning, occupational safety and health. So I'd like to welcome Emilia Tello, who is our focal point. That means she's our national contact person for the European agency in Lisboa. And she's also an expert in occupational safety and health. And also Luís Costa, who is the executive director of the National Association of Vocational Education and Training Schools, and is also a member of the FET Steering Committee. Now, we've met a number of people today here who are members of the FET Steering Committee, and all I can say is that it must be a very erudite gathering because they're all very articulate. So now, handing over to Emilia and then to Luís Costa. Emilia.
Good afternoon, dear participants, dear Brenda, dear Marianne Vint, and dear organizer. Thank you for the invitation for this webinar. Next, you can share my PowerPoint, please.
Yes.
Thank you. It's coming. Now in presentation mode, please.
Yes. Oh, sorry. Yes.
Thank you. And the second slide, please. Thanks. The OSHA project has the intention to raise awareness of the importance of the occupational safety and health to vocational schools in the European Union and in the European Economic Area countries, providing teachers and students with easy access to extending practical occupational safety and health information and useful contacts at national and regional levels. In this project are involved EU-OSHA and their network of focal points, the European Forum of Technical and Vocational Education and Training, EVET, and the European Association for Institutes for Vocational Training, AVBB. In Portugal, the corresponding congener entities involved are the Authority for Working Conditions, ACT, ANESPO, National Association for Professional Schools, and ESQ Academy. The goal is raise awareness of occupational safety and health among vet teachers and students and provide practical information and resources. A brief historical overview of this project. In March 2020, a Portuguese focal point from EU-OSHA meets for the first time with the national representatives of EVET, Luís Costa, Executive Director for ANESPO, and AVBB, Margarida Segard, ESQ Academy Director. Until now, today, we haven't been face to face. All our interaction has been and is being done by this new way of communication and the pandemic has brought us. The national activities developed since the beginning of the project until now consists in sending by the Portuguese focal point from EU-OSHA to partners weekly news about OSHA, and the partners disseminate this news through their contact networks, vocational schools, trainers, schools directors, teachers. In 2021, we intend to carry out an activity involving the theme of the European campaign 2021-2022, Healthy Workplaces, Lighten the Load. For this, we propose a challenge to teachers of vocational education which aims to promote a healthy and sustainable active life and combat sedentary work, thus introducing micro breaks and in the classroom or active breaks. So we invite teachers on this school year to carry out in the classroom micro breaks, active breaks, lab and gymnastics. The micro pauses or micro breaks can be performed during any class in the laboratories, carpentry, mechatronics, audiovisual, or even the more theoretical classes. This consists of stretch that last between 10 and 30 seconds. What we know as the cat stretching: stretch, relax, stretch, yawn, perform at regular intervals and every day. Or active breaks, 2 to 5 minutes, 3 to 5 times a day. To better explain to the teacher what is intended, a video has been made by the school EPAD, Professional School of Arts, Technologies and Sports in Lisbon. André Badalo, the teacher, and his students produced a 5-minute film to demonstrate active poses and invited the actress Barbara Rosa, who played the fun maths teacher. So we are going to share with you a 1-minute teaser of the video that lasts 5 minutes. We are waiting for the video.
Yes.
A short one, because the video have 5 minutes of duration.
Yeah, we're only going to show a little clip, just a little teaser.
Ai! Ai!
Ok, já percebi que horas são. Vamos sentar na cadeira e vamos apoiar a zona lombar nas costas da cadeira. Vamos puxar os ombros para trás, elevar o peito e vamos puxar os membros superiores para cima em direção ao teto. Aqui em cima, inspira pelo nariz, expira pela boca. E eu quero ouvir a respiração. Vamos lá, mais uma. Inspira pelo nariz, expira pela boca. E solta os braços. Solta, 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 solta.
So we can go back to my presentation, the PowerPoint presentation, please. The script was written by the students and as well the directing and editing. It is thus a fun project by students for students. I think the language and the sense of humor will work well with schools. The communication as a campaign work with hashtag, which is right to social network of students and schools to try to propagate the video as a viral, fun communication. We promote this initiative on November 10th in the webinar we organized, which has attended by 274 participants, the webinar From School to the World of Work, Positive Practices and Emotions, Align and Relaxing, where a survey on the state of the art of occupational safety and health in vocation school is also presented. On this webinar, we announce a competition, the award We Are Well with Occupational Safety and Health, Participate, Innovate, Deliver, which aims to raise awareness and alert young people to occupational safety and health and well-being in work life. The deadline for submission is April 28, our National Day on Occupational Safety and Health and the World Day for Safety and Health at Work from International Labour Organization. The objective is to sensitize and make young people aware of occupational safety and health and well-being at work life. The central theme of the competition is From School to the World of Work, Optimizing Safety and Health at Work. With this contest, we intend to award the best video. We will accept videos and audio support uploaded to YouTube and with a maximum duration of 4 minutes in all categories mentioned below. Next, please. Next steps. Our future steps are to mobilize and involve other players, extend this project to other national vocational education and training institutions, which coordinates the secondary education network, and return to the survey of schools and monitor the evolution of this survey, and following the survey results, contributing to making schools safer and correcting detected problems. Working with ANCAP that manage the training in Portugal so that the qualification increasingly incorporate occupational safety and health matters. Boasting the video made by EPAT throughout the school year to encourage to practice the healthy breaks. Next, please. With this project, we intend with this project, we intend that young people who are going to enter the working world take with them knowledge and behaviors that demonstrate that they have a good prevention culture and a good safety culture also. We are sure that these young people in vocational education will create awareness in occupational safety and health, and the companies of tomorrow will be better prepared to create healthy workplaces, which lead us to believe that It is wrong to think that companies take care of safety because they are rich. The truth is that they are rich because they take care of safety. Thank you for your attention and thank you for the interest of the European Parliament on this very important topic.
Thank you very much, Emilia. Thank you. And now, Luis Costa, would you like to say a few words?
I think Luis Costa have problems. You are here.
Yeah, Luis.
Finally, I'm here in another way.
Yeah, Luis, if you want to, I'll give you...
Of internet, and I was managing by phone with Emilia. She has done a nice work, a nice job, and thank you, but it was not possible to...
Yeah, well, thank you, because we know that you and Emilia have done fantastic collaboration together there in Portugal. I hope you think that she represented you well, and sorry you dropped out there, but it's nice to have you back. So thank you, Portugal. That's an excellent example. And now, Mariana, I'd like to come back to you and see what your impressions are, having done this little tour around some countries in Europe.
Thank you, and thank you for all your great posts. I'm really excited to hear so many working for the same agenda. This is so important, and when we're doing things together, we can do something. So I really look forward to working with you in the future. And I just want to go back to the schools. I just loved the new campaign with the school children. It's so important that you learn to take care of your body already when you're a child. So it's a great campaign. I look forward to hear more about it. So thank you for today.
Well, Marianne, all I can say is thank you to you for agreeing to host us. It was lovely to have your participation particularly, and I know that this week in particular is an extremely busy week for you. I'd like to now wind up, and I would like to say thank you to EFET for this invitation to us all and for organizing this opportunity. Thank you to all the participants who joined in this 1-hour webinar. I'd like to say there are two people without whom this would not have been possible. It's my colleague, Bruno Thiebaud, and also the wonderful Valentina Chanina in EFET, without whose enthusiasm we never would have got this off the ground. And I'd like to thank also my colleague, Andrew Smith. If you'd like to get involved in the musculoskeletal disorder campaign, I'd just like to say to you that you can do so by visiting the website of EU-OSHA, or the campaign website. And by the way, the next campaign is going to be on digitalization. And I have a feeling that more than ever, we're going to need to join forces with VET if we are going to be successful in the transformations that the world of work is undergoing. I would like to remind you that we will publish this recording on YouTube and in other fantastic places. We'll also send the participants the PowerPoints. I'd like to say a final thank to our lovely technicians, Andrea, Veronica, and the team who kept us up and running. I was requested to ask all of you to switch on your cameras so that we could do a family photo of you all. And if you feel like moving, you can dance a little bit, because we're going to play a little bit of dancing to see us off. So on behalf of everybody in EU-OSHA and in EFET, thank you very much for joining us today, and keep moving, keep dancing, and bye-bye.
And thank you so much, Brenda, to you.
Thank you, Barbara.
As a moderator, thank you so much. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Andrea, stai facendo tu le foto? Stai facendo la foto? Andrea, stai facendo foto?
Andrea non c'è, ma le fa bene.
Oh, David Bowie, my favorite.
Bruno is already dancing. Bruno, excellent. I think my colleague is there, Victoria. Maybe Victoria, could you help me to take a picture with everyone?
I took screenshots. Yes.
Yes.
Great.
Great.
Thank you so much, and have a good afternoon,
Thank you, John.
everybody.
The same to you.
Bye.
John,
Thank you.
Aria.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.